Welcome to Beyond Investments with your host, Seth Leishman of Ostro Financial Consultants. Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Ostro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial. Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Ostro Financial Consultants, National Planning member SIPC. And now, Beyond Investments, here's your host, Seth Leishman.
Good morning. Welcome to Beyond Investments right here on News Talk AM 830.
Hello, sir.
Hey, Rick, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well.
Glad to have you back.
Where was I? Oh, that's right. Last week you did the podiatrist show.
Yes, last week I had some guests in here in the office / studio.
I heard you talk a little bit about our Dodgers, or my Dodgers.
I did bring up the Dodgers a little bit. Dr. Justin Rivera is a Ventura native.
So the northern part of Southern California.
Correct. I would absolutely agree with that. And diehard Dodgers and Lakers fan. So, we did bring up the Dodgers a little bit. They do look solid this year.
Yes, they do. I mean, spring training doesn't mean that much, but our key players are hitting pretty well, and a couple of youngsters might make the team that are impressing with their we shall see.
And even pitching looks pretty good.
Yes, it does. But again, it's a long season, and somebody called me and said, I heard that the Dodgers are predicted to win 3 in a row. And I said, well, let's take it one at a time.
Yeah, how about one at a time?
We're favored this year. But still, the Padres are going to be tough, and it's not going to be a cakewalk. And the American League's got some really good teams.
Even the Giants are good.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, they're not. Yeah, okay, no, they're not.
It's just that's just crazy talk.
That's crazy talk right there a little bit.
Now, the Padres are really the only ones to be concerned about in the West. Again, anything can happen. It is baseball after all.
That is true. I would agree.
But I'm looking forward to beginning of the seasons in a couple of weeks, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Look it out. We are getting closer to spring. Sure feels that way anyways. Next week's supposed to be in the 60s.
Yeah, it didn't feel that way last week when there was a foot and a half of snow on the ground.
Exactly. I got a foot of snow at my house.
Yeah, we got a little bit less than that. The Mustang was corralled, so to speak.
Yes.
And it came out a couple of days ago, went playing a little bit, gave her some food, got her washed.
Nice.
And then took her for a little run on Highway 49.
Oh, fun. Yeah.
And then had to put her back because it started snowing again.
Yes, and it did. It did pick up some snow again.
But she's back on the streets now.
Good. Well, why don't we dive in to see what the markets are doing this week?
Last week was, with the end of last week, the markets were struggling, especially the NASDAQ was close, if not in correction territory, down 10%.
Yeah.
And it's been pretty much going up all week long. Right now, again, we're talking Tuesday, and the market hasn't closed. The Dow right now is about 32,835. Yeah. This time last week, it was at 31,802. So that's 1,000 points in a week.
Yeah, nearly 1,000 points.
And I'm pretty sure that the S&P is down right now, down about 5 points.
Okay.
And last week it was, probably a, similar percentage. Okay. Of course, the computer's slow. Anyways, but the NASDAQ was the big news. It went to correction territory. It's been performing well all week long.
Yeah.
I think the COVID relief bill, which we're going to be talking about later, has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
And again, technology is changing our lives every day.
It is.
And
good and bad.
Yes, good for better or for worse.
That's right.
But it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we'll see what the economy looks like. I mean, from what I'm hearing, most expectations are anywhere the economies that could grow anywhere from 5%, 4 to 5%. I've heard 8 and 9%, which would just be unheard of. And that's why we have the inflation fears. When things move that fast,
that's right.
You worry about, even with just-in-time manufacturing techniques.
Of course.
You worry about being able to meet the pent-up demand.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of these places have been shut down.
Yeah. So when demand outstrips supply,
that's when prices go up.
Prices go up.
It's kind of just basic economics right there.
Yep. And
that's even without gouging. That's just normal market forces.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen some of those types of things already have been happening. I mean, Look at the price of if you want to buy ammunition for a gun. It's more than double the price from a year and a half ago.
Even if you can find it. There's some places that are running out.
If you can find it, exactly.
I went to Cabela's about 2-3 months ago. So it was a while ago. And shelves are empty.
Yeah, they had nothing.
For the popular rounds. I mean, there was some oddball stuff that was
oddball that nobody has.
Exactly. Yeah. But all the 9mm, all that kind of stuff, 45 ACP.
Right, all gone.
Yep. Absolutely gone.
So markets have recovered a little bit from their dip there. What else we have?
Well, again, with the markets, the NASDAQ has kind of had its correction.
Yep.
We hope. That doesn't mean the other broader markets. We would still expect at some point to get some sort of correction. So,
right. I would agree.
Moving on to COVID. So COVID, I'm doing the report a little bit differently because I think the focus is changing now. We're on the back side of it. It appears. Right now, there's been 29.3 million cases in the nation, 533,000 fatalities. Unfortunately, again, 1.8% fatality rate, which has been pretty stable.
Yep.
Guess how many vaccinations cumulative there have been so far?
50 million.
You're half that. It's 111 million.
Okay.
And vaccinations, just last week, there was 1.6 million vaccinations. So that's going well. As far as on the good news, fatalities peaked in February, on February 12th, the day before my birthday, at 5,500 fatalities.
Okay.
As of yesterday, there was a 702. So the fatality rate is falling off the cliff along with the infection rate, which is a great sign. I can't see us building up another peak, but on cases, we peaked on January 8th at 314,000 cases, new cases.
Yeah.
As of yesterday, there's only 50,000. So that's a dramatic change, and that's all good. That's a good sign.
Very much a dramatic change.
So moving on, I think we can move on to trivia.
Yes, let's do that. Yeah.
All right, so starting with financial trivia, we got a little bit of tidbits from Jason Zwig. 1999. What do you think happened in 1999? Well, lots of things. You were, 19? How were you in 1999?
I was 17.
17. So you weren't paying attention. Oh, no, you probably were paying attention to the markets.
I was paying attention.
Yeah.
But most people my age were not.
No.
Because, at 17.
You were cruising for chicks.
That was my first year of Roth IRA contribution.
Oh, okay. So that's memorable for you.
I made my first Roth IRA contribution of my own money that year.
And if you put it all in the Dow Jones Industrial Average,
you should have.
Yeah, it would have. Anyways, the Dow hit 10,000 for the first time.
Okay.
So over tripled, almost quadrupled. Right?
Yeah. Which I think which probably it has done that, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Since I was, that was 20 plus years ago.
Yes. 1933, FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, took the U.S. off the gold standard. And not only that, removed it from circulation, so confiscation.
Wow.
And you were banned from collecting it, supposedly.
Yeah. It's pretty little
draconian.
I was going to say draconian. I was going to say that exact word. I'm like, a little draconian there.
Yeah. I hope they don't try that nonsense.
Yeah.
1930, Julius Barnes, who was the head of Herbert Hoover's National Business Survey Conference. Okay. Talk about sticking your foot in your mouth.
Yes.
Listen to this quote. Again, this is 1930.
Okay.
In March of 1930.
Yes.
The spring of 1930 marks the end of a period of grave concern. He's only off by 10 years.
He's only off by about 10, 12 years, yes.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Careful what you say, because posterity will be able to pull it up.
Yes.
And now we have Facebook. So unfortunately, even the dumb things we do say sometimes, it's there forever.
It's there forever.
That's right. So if we ever try to run for office, that one stupid thing we did.
I can't run for office.
I guess I did more than one stupid thing.
Right.
Let's see. There was really nothing good in baseball.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move it over. So in music trivia, though, let me pull this up. In 1964.
Oh, 1964. That's pretty good. Those are some good years. Good. There's a little bit of a trivia there. If you're going to bring up 64 for music history, of course, 64 and a half first year of the Mustang.
That's true, and that might make it to the automotive trivia. I haven't gotten there yet. But anyways, the Beatles, of course, set a new record for advanced sales in the U.S. with 2.1 million copies of their latest single, Can't Buy Me Love, one of my favorite Beatles songs.
Yes. Couldn't sing it if I tried.
You couldn't, huh?
Nope.
And then a year later, the Rolling Stones, kind of the Beatles' arch rivals at the time, were at number 1 in the United Kingdom with their chart the last time.
Oh.
And the band's third UK number 1 hit. And that was the first hit for songwriters Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, because I guess the other ones were what they call cover tunes.
Yes.
1968, Otis Redding was posthumously released his famous song "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay."
Okay.
Had a 5-week run at number 1, number 3 in the UK. He was killed the year before in a plane crash.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know that. I knew the song. I knew he died. I didn't realize that the song was released after he died.
Right. Yes.
And so that's it. Let's see. Simon and Garfunkel. 1971 winners of this year's Grammy Awards included Simon and Garfunkel, who won Record of the Year, Song of the Year, Bridge Over Troubled Waters.
Okay.
And Album of the Year. And then the Carpenters won Best New Act and Best Vocal Performance for Close to You. So two pretty ones. Let's see.
Simon and Garfunkel was on this morning is my Getting Ready for Work song today.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay. Sounds good.
Kind of an odd little connection there.
And I'm going to pick another one. Let's see. Here's a 1974 U.S. tour for Elvis Presley, one of his last ones, I assume.
Right.
Played his first 4 nights at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee. It was the first time he had played in Memphis since 1961.
Wow.
You would think since he lived there and he was already famous, but okay.
Yeah.
And this last one is what I call guilty pleasure. So one of those one-hit wonders from my childhood.
Right.
So 1977, Paper Lace came out with their number 1 hit, Billy, Don't Be a Hero.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
Oh, it's pure bubblegum pop.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyone listening, any kids listening to that's why I said it's a guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure, yes. One hit wonder.
Yep, there you go. So that's it for music trivia. Then we have to move on to automotive trivia. Maybe you can fill in here a little bit while I navigate this.
Automotive trivia, is very interesting because we being a couple of car guys, there's always something fun and interesting out there when it comes to cars, whether it be, surrounded around, around manufacturing, milestones, new models, things like that. Love to hear what you have for us
Oh,
today.
boy. Okay. You're going to love this one. March 15th, so yesterday, it's a day off. 1961. The Jaguar E-Type is released.
Yes.
And they've got this, see this one right here?
Yes.
My uncle had that exact same car, same color.
Oh, that baby blue.
Oh, yeah, just gorgeous. I'd rather have the Roadster, but anyways.
Right.
So for those who don't know,
Beautiful cars.
The E-Type, especially the Roadster, considered probably, if not the most beautiful car ever mass produced.
Pretty close.
It's in the top 3 or top 5.
Definitely, yes.
I remember, to buy one of those now in mint condition, it's 6 digits.
Yep.
It's sick. I mean, I remember you could buy what they call a 20-footer. That means from 20 feet, it looks great. If you get up to, those are 60, 70 grand now.
Yes.
And that's, and they're not going to be the most reliable car you've ever owned.
They'll be one of the least reliable.
Exactly, especially the electrical systems.
Oh, especially electrical systems, yes.
I don't know why the English have never been able to figure that out.
Yes.
Well, German car companies buy them.
Yes, that's true.
Cooper.
Yep.
Rolls-Royce is owned by BMW, I think.
Yes, it is.
So, anyways, that's
is
probably
correct.
a good thing. At one time, German companies buying English companies, not a good thing.
Not a good thing.
Now it's a good thing.
No, it's a great thing that BMW owns, Cooper, meaning Mini.
Yeah.
They bought Mini and they bought Rolls-Royce.
Yep. And Aston Martin was owned by Ford for a while. I don't know who owns that.
It was now owned by Tata out of India.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
Jaguar does too. Jaguar and Land Rover.
So the English to the ends. Talk about Indian revenge because, England did conquered and colonized India for a long time. They got their independence. Now they're taking their finances and buying English.
That's right.
Very nice. 1914. Oops. Well, this is March 14th, so these dates are not. Richard Petty, most people have heard of.
Yes.
But most people don't know that his father was one of the pioneers of NASCAR, Lee Petty.
Oh, I didn't know
And he was
that.
born on this date in 1914.
Yeah. Did not know that.
So I think that's pretty much that for
automotive.
automotive. Yeah.
Wonderful. Good trivia.
Yep.
It's wonderful stuff. I love it. Super interesting. This week. Well, let's. We're gonna today. We'd love to talk. A topic today that we're gonna be bringing up and talking about in detail a bit is the most recent stimulus package, $1.9 trillion stimulus, as well as spending package. Some legislation that is part of it as well. Some of the new adjustments and changes to various things and how those are going to affect the financial markets, but also how some of these things are going to affect people's pocketbooks. Going in for the rest of this year. We're gonna dive in deep into that, and when we get back from this break, you're listening to Beyond Investments right here on News Talk AM 830.
Today's guest, Rick Fisher, is a financial advisor with Austro Financial Consultants, National Planning Member SIPC.
Welcome back to Beyond Investments right here on News Talk AM 830. Rick, let's talk about this $1.9 trillion stimulus package called the American something or other.
It is called American Rescue Plan.
American Rescue Plan.
Yes,
Wow.
American rescued from what?
Gotta love the choice of words there.
Yes, the new administration's here to the rescue.
That's right. We're here to rescue you.
So again, very controversial. And
Yes.
again, just to reiterate, that's $1.9 trillion.
Correct.
Not $1.9 billion.
No, trillion.
Which is trillion. Which
A lot of zeros.
lots. I think so many zeros that your iPhone you have to turn it sideways.
Yes, it won't fit.
Otherwise, it won't fit across the
calculator.
normal. Yes. So again, very controversial because it's called the American Rescue Plan. It's been called the COVID relief bill. It's been called all sorts of stuff. So you would
Yes.
think that most of that money would go to COVID related stuff, which
Right.
at this point you could say a little too late. We're right now, as we looked at the COVID, everything is
Coming out of it.
coming out of it. Hopefully we'll be out spring. Some would say fall,
Yeah.
with people getting vaccinations. But this really just looks like a bunch of pork.
It does.
So the unemployment benefits, again, I sympathize with those who've lost their jobs, and I have no problem with this. I'm glad they reduced it for the simple reason. So now it's at $300 a week. Now, when they did the first one, wasn't it the double that?
$600 a week, yeah.
And again, not to be callous, but yes, it helped those people, but the problem is it incentivized some people not to go back to work, which you don't want to do that.
That's right.
$300, obviously $300 a week, that's $1,200 a month. That's going to probably pay your rent.
Plus the regular unemployment. The $300 a week is the extra on top of standard unemployment.
Okay, so hopefully they take away the incentive to stay unemployed.
Right, yes. I agree. So we've got the enhanced unemployment benefits that last all the way through September. Right.
Mm-hmm. September 6th to be exact.
The other part of it that is very controversial, I won't say controversial, it's just late, right? They didn't jump on this very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Took them too long to get this done. Is that the fact that you now have the first $10,200 of unemployment benefits from last year, from 2020, are not taxable at the federal government level. But we're in mid-March. How many people, especially those that are unemployed, who have more simple tax returns, they probably already got them done. They needed those refunds sooner rather than later.
Right.
And they filed with that unemployment as being taxable. Now you've got to wait for the IRS to get around to processing it, because they've already come out and said, please do not send in amended tax returns to get that money back. We'll process it for you. Can you imagine how long that's going to take them?
That's why I'm giggling.
Goodness gracious. So you've now got part of this plan, which is wonderful. I think it's great. Yeah, unemployment benefits, non-taxable. I think that's a great thing.
Right.
Right. Why hit them while they're down, And so having the first $10,000, now of course it's still income related. So only if a married filing joint tax return is less than $150,000, single 75, are those unemployment benefits non-taxable. If you end up with the year where you went back to work and you earned a good salary and you made more than $75,000 as a single individual and collected that unemployment, you're going to pay tax on unemployment. So it's only if your income is below those thresholds will that unemployment be non-taxable. But now you're kind of sitting around hoping to get that money back someday. Who knows how long it's going to take them to go ahead and process that, unfortunately.
Yeah, and speaking of the stimulus checks, also under those criteria, the 75,000, 150,000 will get a $1,400 stimulus check, right?
Per person listed on the tax return, including dependent children.
Okay, so if you do a typical family of 2 adults and 2 kids,
so you're gonna
$6,000.
Yeah, you're gonna get $5,600 worth of stimulus. All tax free as of right now. Still as of right now, still tax free. But
so what do they do with infant children? Is the check made out to them?
No, so it's supposed to go direct deposit in the bank account, whatever they've got on file from the previous filed tax return.
Oh, so if
you had bank account instructions on file with the IRS from your previous filed tax return, or even if you filed this year earlier, then when they're sending this out, it'll go direct deposit into that bank account.
Okay,
or
so
you will get a paper check mailed to you, one check for the whole amount.
Okay, so if I don't have children, or I have children living home, but they're independent, they're not. I can't claim independence anymore.
Right.
But had I still had 2 of my kids and claimed dependence,
right,
and would their portion go to my bank account?
Correct. Made out to you. Yes.
Oh wow. Would I have to tell them?
No, of course not.
Okay. So that could be okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
And
they are dependents. That's kind of the definition, right?
This is true. This is true. Yes. And I can tell you, if they were teenagers, they would eat that much in food in probably a week, anyways.
Easily.
Yes.
Easily. So, an interesting thing about this one, about having an additional $1.9 trillion, something that's a little bit of a cause for concern is the fact that the other multi-trillion-dollar stimulus package that was passed last year, right? About 50% of it still hasn't even been spent yet.
See, I don't understand that. If they passed one and the money's sitting there,
why pass another?
Why pass another until that money is used up? I mean, usually you add other bills when the first one was distributed.
Correct.
That's corruption is what it sounds like to me. It got siphoned off somewhere.
That's right.
It's not sitting in a bank somewhere.
No,
it's someone's pockets.
It's projects that somebody wants to. It's a pet project of a senator. You've got somebody that wants a tunnel to be built somewhere. Usually related to probably where their house is close by, and they would like a faster way to get to the office or whatever.
This is how senators and congressmen become multimillionaires on a very limited, modest salary.
That's right. Absolutely. Exactly right. So,
and again, that goes for both sides of the aisle. I'm not calling out any.
Oh goodness, no.
They're both.
So when you think about $1.9 trillion, you think about the people that could use it the most, right? You and I talked about this before starting here. And if let's say we ran some numbers here, very interesting numbers, right?
Frightening numbers, if you ask me.
Yeah, even frightening numbers. Yes, absolutely. Is you look at if you were to take the bottom 50% of wage earners,
right,
or of earning households,
okay,
right. Earning households in the country. You could take, if you removed all the pork and all of the other foreign, the money that's going to go foreign overseas that we won't see a dime of, it's going to go overseas to some other country.
Right.
Take all 1.9 trillion, give it to, and you were to hand that out to bottom 50% of wage earning households. Comes out to just shy of $12,000 per person.
Per person. That's not per household.
That's right.
So we were talking the previous example with is $5,800 in a household.
That's right.
Of 4. This is per person.
Per person. That would be $45,000. That would be $45,000 to $48,000 if you've got a household of 2 adults and 2 kids. They would get a check for $45,000.
I mean that's real money to people.
Yes.
In that financial state.
Median income for households in the United States for wage earner is $58,000. So you're talking about 3/4 of the entire salary for the average household in the country. That's some help.
Yeah, absolutely. That's some help.
That is relief. That is a rescue.
Yes.
A rescue is not $1,400 a head.
Right.
I'm sorry.
It's a help, but it's not a rescue.
You are not rescuing people at $1,400 a person.
Right.
You just aren't.
Especially if they're unemployed and are worked in the hospitality industry.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, what if it was the truly poor? Let's say the bottom 10%.
the bottom 10% of
the people who, I mean, again, they were struggling before COVID.
Right. Then, if you're talking about the bottom 10% of the population, now you're talking $55,000 a head per person.
And that's how big that number is, 1.9 trillion.
Yes, that's how big $1.9 trillion is.
And here, one of the criticisms from the Republicans, the Democrats, is that a lot of this money was going to go to failing pension plans in cities who have historically mismanaged their pension
money
funds.
Anyways.
Unfortunately, most of those would be called blue states.
That's right.
That's just the fact. You can look it up. So this package designates $350 billion for states, cities, tribal governments, and U.S. territories.
Wow.
Local government funding. Again, there are lots of pension funds, especially in the public sector. Teachers unions,
PERS,
all that stuff, and they're not funded properly,
massively underfunded.
And this is kind of a bailout to them, which is, again, I think is corruption. You should be able to balance your own budget.
That's right,
and not use this kind of crisis to allocate money. And and everybody knows it, and I'm not okay with it.
No.
But I have no control. They didn't elect me yet, so.
No, absolutely. It's pats on the back, it's scratch your back, it's take care, bail out while we can, we take advantage of a situation.
And the sad thing is they've talked about the unity. I know I was listening to the news today that if we were talking about infrastructure, and this is something I've been barking at for 20 years. As much as big government spending is, wasteful, we do have infrastructure that needs to be modernized, replaced. Generally nothing new. We don't need bridges to nowhere. We don't need, but if you look at our highways here in California, it looks like third world in some places.
It's worse than third world in many places. And we have the highest gas tax, the highest DMV, registration fees.
I just got mine for our new Ford F-150. Almost fell out of my chair.
Oh yeah.
Anyways,
it's got to be.
It's
ridiculously high. It's amazing how high some of these things are.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous, and yet, the money's dispersed other places.
And I remember I don't know if it was a 60 Minutes or I've seen numerous programs over the years about the crumbling bridges. That's a safety issue
all over the country.
Yeah, all over the country, and that stuff it's not sexy, it's not fun, but it's necessary.
It is.
That's one thing I like about the Germans. The Germans, they keep their roads. They invest. I mean, they're Germans. They're engineers. They're But some of the ways they spend money makes a lot more sense than the way we do it.
The way we do it, yeah. Well, you look at the overseas spending that Germany does, and it's a lot less than what we do.
Yes,
we send hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars over the years overseas, and so when you keep it in house, I've got a lot more to spend on other things. But we're running up against our time here, so we'd like to encourage all listeners out there, if you've missed any part of this show, you can go to our website at austrofinancial.com, click on the news link up at the top to download or stream this show as any previous show. And as always, give us a call at 273-4425 and come experience the difference when you think beyond investments.
Take care.
Information provided is for illustrative purposes only and does not constitute investment, tax, or legal advice. Information has been obtained from sources that are deemed to be reliable, but its accuracy and completeness are not guaranteed. Neither LPL Financial nor the hosts of this show or accept any liability for the use of the information discussed. Consult with a qualified financial, legal, or tax professional prior to taking any action. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Austro Financial Consultants, a registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.